It's Friday, February 1st, a football Friday here on That Betting Show. Donnie and Teddy. No Donnie today. He's on his way, as I record, to Costa Rica for the BetCast for Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm going to go solo. You're stuck with me for the next 20 minutes or less as we break down everything you need to know to make educated and informed wagers tonight and all weekend long. Let's start right here with the hot topic of the day. SportsbookReview.com wants us to talk about Knicks and the Mavs. I don't blame them. This is most assuredly a hot topic when you're talking about Porzingis getting traded to Dallas. Number one's going back to New York. And the basic entity of this deal is the Mavs just got a cornerstone. The Knicks just opened up a whole lot of salary cap space to make a run at some marquee free agents this summer. At first glance, I got to grade the trade in favor of the Knicks, who were able to accomplish their goal. They wiped out a bunch of money. Now they can make a run at Kyrie. They can make a run at Durant. They can make a run at both with, what do they talk about, $70 million under the cap. So big bonus for the team in the NBA with the single worst record right now. And, of course, they keep lottery picks to add to that. And, of course, for Dallas, when you're talking about the future in the Western Conference, this Golden State dynasty isn't going to last forever. The Mavs clearly looking to be able to take the mantle once Golden State starts to decline. When you have Luka, when you have Porzingis, that's two building blocks if Porzingis can ever stay healthy, which, you know, at times when he's been healthy, he's been dominant. I've yet to see the guy play a solid, healthy season. So this all, you know, this trade ends up getting graded out on A, whether Dallas can re-sign the guy, and B, whether it ends up being a healthy contributor to a playoff-level team. Nonetheless, fascinating deal, an NBA trade season just beginning, the deadline, not till next week. All right, hot topic. What are we looking at? The judge won't order a do-over for the Saints. Saints season ticket holders filed their lawsuits, but U.S. District Judge Susie Morgan rejected the argument that the league had to play a do-over. There was no writ of mandamus forcing the NFL or Roger Goodell to take action. Good. Sorry, guys. Sometimes you got to let it go. I'm going to talk about this at the end of the show. We talk about all the overtime insanity in college hoops last night. Sometimes things go against you. It sucks. No question. Filing lawsuits, trying to stop the Super Bowl to get a replay. Come on, guys. Be realistic. It's got to be a PR stunt, a publicity stunt. It has nothing, very little chance of success. And obviously yesterday, the U.S. District Judge rejected the opportunity for that do-over for the Saints and the Rams. And now we've got another situation with the ticket scams. Every year, ticket scams going to pop up at Super Bowl time. What do we have? A dozen guys from Georgia have accused, not just something, this isn't a clown. This is like a prominent businessman. He collected more than $1 million from fraudulent Super Bowl ticket sales. Oh, by the way, he's been missing since earlier this month, according to his wife. And he's also been accused of theft through the ticket scam by his own mother. Look, when it comes to morals and your choices about what you want to do in your life, hey, people want to do stuff that doesn't hurt other people. I have no issue with that whatsoever, the libertarian philosophy. But when you start pulling a scam where you're trying to get $1 million for Super Bowl tickets that doesn't exist, on the meter of things you can do that are okay versus things you can do that aren't okay, that's not okay, brah. But of course, he's been missing. Who knows where he is? He's either escaped with the money or maybe he's dead somewhere. I don't think you deserve the death penalty for that, so I'm not going to wish death on the guy. But the bottom line, if you're going to the game, if you're thinking about going to the game, buy your tickets from a reputable source, not from a guy who just stole $1 million from his friends, family, and mom. Overnight line movers. Let's talk about what's happened right from the get-go with these totals. Look, surprised about this one, the Wisconsin total. We have Maryland, Wisconsin tonight. We'll talk about that game in just a moment. But Terps total opened as low as 129, got bet up. This isn't a game that's going to be up and down, fast-paced, two squads lighting up the scoreboard. We saw them play a couple of weeks ago, and despite a whole bunch of three-pointers in that contest, from Maryland in the first half and Wisconsin in the second. The game was certainly not a shootout. All that being said, the early money has come on the over, total up to 131.5 in many locations. In the Ivy League, I'm not going to claim that I'm an Ivy League expert. I am not. That being said, we have seen a significant shift in early action on the total for Cornell versus Cornell versus Penn. Opened 136, bet up to 139. Ivy League action has seen over money early on. Again, Ivy League, not my specialty, but nonetheless, we want to give you the news you need to know in 20 minutes or less. That's news. If you're betting the Ivy League, you probably want to know that early money has come in on the over. And of course, we got to talk Super Bowl. And now, Friday, this is when the fun really starts to happen because we talked about it. 90% of the money is going to come in the next 48 hours at the vast majority of books. So for all this, well, where's the line going? Where's the total going? Now it's real because especially here in Las Vegas, everyone flies in on Friday and the sportsbook lines are packed all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'm sure it's the same in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania and Mississippi and the like. So we track the line moves. Patriots are holding at 2.5 against the Rams at the majority of books. There was talk that at the sharp shops, this might drop back down to 2 or even 1.5. I've seen no evidence of that thus far. At the books that cater to recreational bettors, there are 3s out there. There's even been 3s minus 110. We don't have to extra juice with the 3. So there is still a split line if you have access to multiple books. There are some 3s. There are mostly 2.5s. And that's it. Now, will we see some movement over the weekend? I'm confident that we will. Will it be significant enough to move it off at 2.5 market-wise? I don't know that I'm convinced of that. I continue to think the Super Bowl, the official closing line, is going to be 2.5. 56 now the total. And gosh, I'm looking at my live odds screen right now, SBRodds.com, where you can find live odds all the time. And you're seeing 56 even with the juice to the under in some spots. 56.5 still the prevailing number, but the leading indicator books per se, clear under money in this ballgame. The wise guys are on the under. Sidewise, I'm not convinced the wise guys even have a side in this game, but there's been definite under money from sharp sources since this line opened. But of course, as the public money comes in over the weekend, I don't know, the total's going to skyrocket back up. 56.5 feels like a closer. So when I'm saying it's going to close 2.5, 56.5, it's not a ton of movement over the weekend, even with that influx of public money. Of course, the prop lines will move big time over the course of the next 48 hours as well as the tourists come in and bet the props. Let's not forget the wise guys, 90% of their action for the Super Bowl, not on the game, not on the side, not on the total. 90% of the wise guy action is on the props. That's where the positive expectation wagers are. And you have prop value early, and lo and behold, you have prop value late. When you're talking about betting on Sunday in the hours before kickoff, some of these numbers really start to get inflated. The wise guys will come in and help the books balance their action with some money the other way on some of the inflated numbers when it comes to the props. When you see the Brady numbers skyrocket on over, under passing yards and attempts, public's going to come in and bet the over on a lot of these. Wise guys are going to come in and take the other side. Watch what you bet. Yeah, let's talk about what's going on tonight in TV action. It's going to start with the Michigan Wolverines, 3.5 at Iowa. That line has now been bet up. What am I seeing right now? 4.5s across the board. There's even a 5 out there, prominent 5. So it looks like the market going to continue to move in that direction. Total sitting in the 142 range right now. So the sharp early money has come on the Wolverines. And how can you blame? I mean, Michigan is a truly dominant basketball team this year. They went everywhere. 4-1 straight up, 3-2 ATS on the highway, 7-3 against the number against the Big Ten. The Wolverines just continue to be a point spread machine. That being said, they've had problems at Carver Hawkeye Arena. 2 of the last 4 meetings with Iowa have gone to overtime. There's been a competitive series. They've lost 3 of their last 4 trips down to Carver Hawkeye in straight up fashion. Iowa, 11-2 straight up at home. They haven't been money winners at home. They're just 5-8 against the number, but 5-4 against the spread as a dog so far this season. When we talk about this Hawkeye squad, it's a typical Iowa team under Fran McCaffrey. The offense is good, very efficient. The defense, a little bit leaky. You look at their offensive rating, 118.3. That's the highest that they've had since 2013, 2014. It's a team, Iowa, that shoots 37% on threes, 54.6% on twos, and they get to the free throw line. And the Hawkeyes have the low post depth. And if you're going to beat Michigan, you're going to give Michigan a problem, you need to run your offense low post out. And, they got Luke Garza at the center, 15 points a game. Tyler Cook, 16.5 points, 8 rebounds a game. And that duo has the potential to give the Wolverines a little bit of trouble. Defensively, you have to be worried about Iowa. They're not going to get a whole lot of stops. But the Wolverines haven't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard either. Their offense has been off the last couple of weeks. Now, here's a team that just allowed oh boy, it's fun going solo. Iowa is a team that just allowed 92 to Minnesota, 82 to Penn State, and 84 to Nebraska. Michigan hasn't been scoring a whole lot lately. Xavier Simpson, their junior point guard, I'm not going to say he's been a bit of a funk, but the Wolverine offense, the last 4 games, they've been stuck in the mud a little bit. It's cost them ATS. Simpson's the key tonight. It's the guy that averages more than 5 rebounds, more than 5 assists. He's only 6 feet tall. But if the Wolverines are going to win and cover, they're going to have to take advantage of a defense that allows opponents to hit, 53% from 2-point range and doesn't force any turnovers. So, in my mind, this is a rarity. Wolverines correlate with a higher scoring game. I think it's going to benefit Michigan to get the offense up. And Iowa, not necessarily the team you want in an ATS game that is higher scoring, because Michigan's offense gets going here. I don't know why Iowa's going to keep up. And the Wolverines are capable of getting a stop down the stretch. Lean towards the home dog, but this is not one where I have pulled the trigger. Maryland and Wisconsin, top 25 battle in the Big Ten tonight. Terps 5-1 against the spread this year on the road. 3-2 as a dog. Badgers, they've been pretty good as chalk this year. They've been good since the start of Big Ten play, and they're in revenge mode. These two teams played just a couple of weeks ago, back on January 14th. I remember the game well. Maryland in control of that game in the first half, dominated. They led by 20 at the break, was it? Wisconsin only scored 15 points at halftime of that ball game. And the second half, the Badgers made things real interesting in that ball game. Ended up taking the lead. Anthony Cohen hit a 3-pointer with 44 seconds left. And Maryland ended up getting the win and cover, minus 3.5. They won by 4. But it did not come without a real battle. And a Badgers team that played a miserable first half came out in the second half, and they were hitting threes. And since that game, that's what Wisconsin has been doing. Yeah, Ethan Happ gets the highlights, but I'll tell you what, the Badgers' depth has impressed me in recent weeks. The role players have impressed me. They've won each of their last 4 contests since the loss to Maryland, a team that is rolling right now. The Terps, they got some really good numbers, and that's why this point spread is as low as it is. Ken Pom has them ranked number 20 overall, number 20 in offensive efficiency, number 45 in defensive efficiency. That's a nice statistical profile for Maryland. I've talked a lot about how we've heard the Terps saying, we're just getting better. I'm looking at Maryland as a bet-on team in general, although they haven't played their best basketball of late. 2-2 since the home win over the Badgers. They knocked off Ohio State and Northwestern. They lost to Michigan State, and the weird game against Illinois at Madison Square Garden where they didn't come through. Terps are bet on. Badgers are bet on. I wouldn't be surprised at all, however, to see this game be something of a defensive scrum. There are not going to be a lot of easy baskets, and we're going to have to see someone get hot from downtown. See this game become a relatively high-scoring affair. My lean is certainly towards the under in this one. And then one more, watch what you bet. We got to talk Knicks and the Celtics tonight, the ESPN matchup. That line just went up a few minutes ago, and already we're seeing a little bit of Boston money. Knicks, 13-point home dogs, total 216 at the open. Don't even have a money line yet on this one. Not easy for any bettor to make a case to be on the New York Knicks right now. In this point spread range, maybe, but the Knicks have been god-awful. You know, they're 4-18 straight up at home. They have the worst record in the NBA. You know, they're 8-13-1 against the spread. The very worst teams, I like betting against them at home because you don't have to lay as much of a price to do it. Although, obviously, with the Celtics minus 13 in this game, there's plenty price to lay with Boston. But in general, as a strategy in the NBA, the worst teams, I like fading them oftentimes in their home building. Although we talk about post-All-Star break, some of the dead teams really start to be very dead, even plus 15 on the highway. All that being said, it's a Knicks squad that just made a blockbuster deal yesterday, basically gutted their franchise. You know, all right, we're moving in for the. It's been 20 years since we've done anything. Let's make it 21. And you talk about, you know, they traded away their leading scorer, Tim Hardaway Jr. They traded away their building block and Porzingis. They traded away, a handful of other key components. I'm not convinced this roster is going to have a whole lot on it tonight. There was some talk DeAndre Jordan may play this evening for the Knicks. That is all questionable right now. Obviously, Courtney Lee's gone, Hardaway's gone, Trey Burke is gone. They did pick up some interesting, two first-rounders, Wesley Matthews, Dennis Smith, and DeAndre Jordan. That's a pretty good haul for clearing all of that salary cap space. Again, I think it's a win-win deal, but here's a team with the worst record in the league. They're getting crushed at home. They just traded everyone away. And I'm not convinced that we're going to see anything out of the Knicks tonight that is worth betting on. You know, last time out, that was ugly against Dallas. I lost 114-90. Again, right here at Madison Square Garden. David Fizdale, head coach for the Knicks. What I saw midway through the third, we started feeling sorry for ourselves. We gave in to the losing tonight. It's eating at everyone. Celtics have actually lost 4 times their last 15 trips to Madison Square Garden. You would think they'd win all of them. They won earlier in the season, back the first week of the season, 103-101. There's Kyrie Irving, questionable. Actually, I think he was the operator probable. I think he's probable. Check Kyrie Irving's status, obviously, before you get involved in tonight's game. But I'll tell you what, Irving missed the last 2, but he is expected to go here. Terry Rozier filled in very nicely for him. And there's a good quote. Let me get that quote, because that's worth giving as well. Talking about Terry Rozier, who filled in for Irving. Quote, "When we play with him, it's more like a show. Sit back and watch him go crazy. Without him, obviously, we don't know who the scoring's going to really come from. Somebody got to step up." So here's Boston off a big blowout win where Irving didn't play. If he plays tonight, the Knicks don't bring anyone. Is it going to be a show and they're going to sit back and watch him go crazy? I don't want to lay 13 with the Celtics tonight, flat out. Under? Don't know how the Knicks offense is going to look. Don't know if Boston's going to push the pace with a big lead. Probably a game to watch and not one to get involved from a wagering standpoint. All that being said, that's all the info I've got for Knicks Celtics. Best of luck if you decide to make a wager on that ball game. Off the mic time. What's the hot topic? Well, I got 2 of them for you today. The NBA trade deadline. The silly season is here, as Donnie likes to call it. Is the NBA more exciting off the court than it is on the court? No, it's not, because Golden State is that dominant. Okay, when you have 5 All-Stars on one roster and the team that has that championship level experience, everyone else is playing for, can we maybe battle with them? Not, are we going to win the championship this season? So, there's a lot of news off the court. Anthony Davis wants out. All right, Kyrie Irving, what's he going to do? Kevin Durant, what's he going to do? All that stuff is fluff. It's flutter. If you're serious about winning, you're allowed to pay attention when a team gets distracted by trade talks. Don't make no mistake about it. The Lakers against Philly the other night, all the trade talk with AD was an impact in that ballgame. It mattered. But a lot of this stuff, remember, all these other networks, all these shows, show after show after show, they need content every day. And that means blah, 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 blah about NBA trades. Info that's going to actually help you win bets. A lot of this stuff, not so much. I'll just leave it at that. Last night, one last thing to talk about on Off the Mic. We have to talk about the overtime insanity. If you were playing dogs last night in college hoops, and you had, I don't know, Penn State plus 7.5, and Texas San Antonio plus 6, and Arizona plus 5.5, you're probably feeling pretty good. Yeah. They're all covering, not necessarily wire to wire, but covering down the stretch. And then the dreaded thing happens. Somebody hits the three, somebody hits the shot, somebody misses the free throw, and the game goes into overtime. And you know what overtime is. Overtime is where underdogs go to die. And Purdue wins by 9, and Western Kentucky wins by 8, and Arizona State wins by 6. All three favorites covering in overtime. That's brutal. I mean, that's brutal. Not to mention the Lakers winning covering in overtime, but they weren't chalk. But how do you deal with it? This is the answer. You suck it up. It's the same thing I tell Saints fans. You're going to have bad beats. It's inevitable. If you do this, you will have a night that you feel like punching a hole in the wall. You're also going to have a night where you feel like dancing on the ceiling. But if you're serious about sports betting, the beats will happen. You're allowed to be mad. You're allowed to be mad, but you can't let it bring you down into the next day. Have your moment, wipe it out, wipe the slate clean, bada boom. Come back the next morning, nothing but smiles. Hey, best of luck to you this weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. One last piece. I have to give you this advice. Don't be stupid. Don't blow your whole bankroll on this game. It's one game. Understand, everyone wants to get down. Everyone wants some action. That's great. Don't put everything you have to bet on the Super Bowl. It's not that good of a wager. Best of luck. Enjoy the game. Donnie, and I think Donnie will be back on Monday. If he's not, I'll go solo again. You'll find me right here on That Betting Show, sportsbookreview.com.